All right, this is the WyOpen 2018 Round 1 Part 1. We got Connor Mitz here.
Hey everyone.
I'm Dakota Turner. We're here presenting this from Cheyenne Productions. We got lead card here with Andrew Herrera, Mitch Sonderfan, Connor Mitz himself, Mark Adsit and Coda Turner. That's me. It was a fun round that day, you know. It was a nice chill morning in mid-August. It's not something you get a lot.
It started out a little cooler than we thought it would for the day.
Glad the course drained that week. That rain on Tuesday flooded it out pretty bad.
Yeah, under 6-7 inches of water is what I heard.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. So it turned out all right.
So here we have Mitch Sonderfan starting us off. As you can see, it's a little breezy. It was kind of breezy all weekend, and he's got a decent line on the hole. As you can kind of tell, it's a bit of an anhyzer over those trees. It's only 320 or so feet, would you say, Coda?
Yeah, about 320, 350, somewhere around that.
Check the card and let us know. Here's Herrera. I think he was trying to throw an understable mid-range. I think he has a couple beat-up ghosts that he likes, and he just didn't quite turn that too much. Because you almost want to turn it over too much and let the wind, because we had a tailwind on this hole, kind of break it out of that turn. Here I'm throwing a beat-up Sparkle MD3. It's a little flatter, and those sparkles kind of came out a little straighter than some of the other runs, so I'm just trying to get this turned over into that tailwind, about like that.
Beautiful shot.
That was a lot more of an ace run than I thought it was initially.
Yeah.
I knew it was all right out of my hand, but that looked better than I thought.
That was a great shot.
So here's Mark. What do you think he's throwing there, Coda? Probably a buzz?
Yeah, he usually throws his buzz on this, tries to get it to flip out just inside those trees, and he just clipped it on the right side just a little bit there. I'm just throwing a FD up there. Clip some trees, and I fought out to the good side all right. But
okay, you did get over that tree? Oh yeah, there you are. That's not too bad. What, probably a 100-foot anhyzer? Little P1X?
Yep, tossed my P1X up there. Not really running at it per se, just wanted to get up there for my 3 from out there.
Yeah, and that tailwind will carry it a little bit. Andrew's just doing the same thing here and just trying to lay up for a 3.
Mark's got a good hyzer line around that branch there.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of trees in the middle of the fairways on these holes, but they do hang low when they're there.
Yeah, and they do their best to work with whatever trees they have.
They do a good job, too. Mitch almost gets it. That's
just
probably a 45-foot putt. It's not too short. Same thing.
Yeah, that was facing that headwind, so I got the nose down low, trying not to let it lift up too high.
Herrera gets his 3.
Sinking his 3.
And this is me for 2, probably about 20 feet or so, maybe a little less. But kind of that similar head, right, left wind.
Same headwind.
Yeah, a little nervous on the first putt of the round with it being that kind of wind, but got to get over it every once in a while.
Right.
Yeah, took enough time. Glad that one snuck in. I didn't think I made it off the bat, but
who needs
I'll take
chains?
It. Yeah, I didn't that time, and I was happy about it. There's Mark tapping an easy par. Mitch and the rest of the crew should be able to do the same. Or that's you for bogey, rather.
That's me for bogey.
Yeah, unfortunate start, but a lot of holes left. 17 this round, and it's a tournament of 60, so got plenty of time to make it back up.
We got hole 3 coming up. It's one of the longest holes on the course. Definitely one of the true par 4s out there today.
Yeah, it feels every bit of that 614 feet just because of the gap you have to hit off the tee. It doesn't really let you take a straight line at it. You can kind of see that tree right in the middle of the fairway. You want to be just right of that and hyzer in between those next pair of far trees.
That way you can work with some windows later on down the way, or you don't have any shot for your 2.
Yeah, down to the right there's a big wall of trees that you don't want to have to throw over.
Nice little hyzer around. Oh, right behind the tree, though.
It's going to be a little bit of an awkward shot, but I do have that gap still up there to the left. Here's Mitch. I'm not sure what that black disc is, but he threw it a ton. And he's kind of got a little bit more of that old school form. You can see that little bit of an air bounce shot. But he pulls it off great. He's a super smooth player. He's a great guy to play with.
Almost no effort at all.
Can always learn something from those guys. Here's Andrew. He's probably throwing an outlaw. He's got a whole bunch of different outlaws that he likes to throw. And that one just came out a little early, but it fought through that tree nicely, and he's not going to have the worst line up toward the basket.
He did catch some branch there.
There's Mark. It's a little left of where you want it to be. That wind is really carrying him up the fairway, though, and that's still not fading too terribly much because that wind is mostly a tailwind that you see moving those trees. Kind of the same thing Mark did. What did you throw there, Coda?
I threw a Luster DDX. Got out there quite a ways, around 405.
Yeah, same kind of thing. That's a nice throw.
You want to get out just past those bushes so they're not right in your face.
Oh yeah,
because
right
then,
there.
You tend to go a little shorter on that throw, and he did end up safe over there, but right next to the water.
And those bushes are not fun to play with. They will knock you into the water more often than not. It seems like it's only about 5 feet. Maybe less behind some of those.
Oh, Andrew didn't look happy about that. Oh,
that did end up going OB. Just barely, just behind those trees you saw. But
seems like it clipped those bushes.
Mark trying the Spikeiser line over everything. That can work out with that tailwind, but he just didn't get enough on it, I don't think.
Throwing that Sexton Firebird he loves so much.
And here I am. I'm throwing a P1X on the step-out Anheuser, and it's my flippy upshot putter. Just trying to get it to go over that tree and around toward the basket. And I don't think I got quite enough turn on it. No, I got too much turn on it.
Trees.
Yeah. It was the second round I didn't get enough turn on my disc. But either way, there's still a putt for a 3, which is very much a birdie on this hole. It's a forehand out. Did you clear the water?
I did make it over the water. I made it over the river. Here's Mitch for his 3. He's parking it up there looking for his par.
Yeah, he gets a tailwind putt on that too. That was important that round if you could get them.
Going up there for my bird, running at it.
Herrera
Andrew out
doesn't
from
even
across
think
the
about
OB.
it.
He was just putting it up there, trying to save whatever he could after that OB shot.
Yeah. Here I had a tree in the way, so I had to get a little low and just didn't commit to it, but that's an easy par. I'm not entirely disappointed with it, especially with the wind that we have on this hole. And that's a good save for Mark after that upshot.
Yeah.
Here's Mitch. Cleaning up a fairly short one.
Cleaning up his par right there.
And everyone should do the same on this hole. These are fairly short putts, even in this wind.
Yeah, these are basic taps for everyone out there.
There's Herrera. Those are some pretty discs that he's putting with. I can't remember what exactly they are, but nice blue swirl to them. So after 2 holes, we have Andrew at 1 over, Mark and Coda at 1 over, Mitch is even, and I am at 1 down so far. Shout out to the sponsors. Thanks for sponsoring the tournament and making this coverage possible. Go support them if you're in Cheyenne. And here's hole 4. It's one of the more straightforward holes on the course, just kind of a basic hyzer over the creek there, but with that wind, it could easily carry it OB over that wall. The wall is not OB, but the sidewalk is.
Sidewalk and beyond is OB.
Yeah, and it seems like it's difficult to sit it on top of the wall, but safe.
Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Here's Mitch. He's throwing a really old gator, and he's got a good look. The wall stops a lot of those shots if they get low enough, but that wind is really, really blowing them long and up. So it's kind of tough to keep them down. What did you throw on this one, Coda?
I threw my harp at this one, and that wind was just carrying everything deep.
It's kind of a right-left tailwind, maybe 30, 35 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was
starting
to get up there by this point in time.
Herrera, I think that's one of Legacy's new discs. I can't remember which one it is, but it is very overstable, and that wind's really pushing them, even though the grass is very sticky. There's been a lot of rain up here recently. The wind is still pushing them and causing some ground play to happen, which I think surprised a few folks. It surprised me on a few holes. Mark throwing what I think is a Hornet.
No, that's Buzz.
It is a Buzz. Either way,
I think he got scared from that long drive because we all ended up going deep, so we kind of pulled back a little bit on it.
True. Oh, that was almost a great 2. This is probably about 40, 45 feet back into that headwind, which died a little bit for these putts, which was really nice. And that one felt pretty good on the way out.
Oh, that was great. That was a nice birdie.
So really happy to start 2 through 3 holes. Appreciate the basket for catching that one. I wasn't sure about it, but yeah, got to give it a little bit of love there. Here's Andrew from probably right outside the circle, I would say. The camera angle doesn't quite do it justice for how long some of these putts were. That one, like I said, was about 40, 45. This one's probably closer to 35. Same kind of headwind, and he just kind of let it float a little bit. Easy mistake to make when the headwind's that strong.
It's really easy. You get a little nose up, and there it goes.
Here you are for your birdie.
And I did the
same thing.
That headwind just lifted him. Mitch for his birdie.
Mitch here. I can't remember what Mitch puts with either, but that was incredibly unlucky. He hit that perfectly. It was just a little nose up, and the wind pushed it right back out at him. So that was insulting, and that one was also very nasty. It was a little left, but it was not that left.
These baskets can be pretty unforgiving out there.
Those were a couple of putts that after I saw him, I was happy to sneak my birdie in before him, because I don't know if I wanted to putt on it after that. But like I said, I'm pretty happy with my start. Andrew with a really unfortunate start. Mitch just keeping it steady. And like I said, there's a lot of holes left, so plenty of time to make up strokes. Hole 5 is a par 3. It's a little more dangerous than the next hole, but they're fairly similar. You have to throw usually a mid-range or a putter and cut it pretty close to the creek. The creek is only about 5-6 feet, maybe a little more right of the basket.
And there's an opening in the trees, basically where a lot of people end up cutting on their anhyzers. If they cut a little too sharp, there's no trees to block you from going OB. And you just went a little deep there.
That was that same Sparkle MD3 I threw on hole 2, and the wind just pushed it. It was a good line, but a little too much. And here's Mitch with probably something similar. And he just turned it over a little too hard. Those guardian trees on the right
sticks out pretty far.
Yeah, they get in the way more than you think they might.
Throwing in Color Glow MD3 here on this one.
That's a pretty Color Glow MD3 you have. Is that Crescent Eagle or Crowned Eagle stand?
That's that Crowned Eagle, yeah.
That's a pretty solid drive. That's, what, 20 feet, 25 feet?
Yeah, looking at death putt there, but not too bad.
Yeah, fortunately on this hole
Mark
there's
caught those trees and kicked down pretty hard.
Yeah, he'll still have a putt, but fortunately on this hole you can see there's a lot of rough right behind the basket between it and the river. There's not as much of that rough on some other holes. So you can hit the basket and still roll in the river, but it's not as easy to do as like on hole 6, the next hole, or even hole 9.
Yeah.
Here's Mitch. Andrew just up threw his shot for a 3, I believe. Here's Mitch. Probably just laying up with that danger right behind it. Actually, he gave that a run.
He did, and he almost had that. That was a good shot. Here's Mark for his 2.
And that tree does get in the way quite a bit, especially from that angle. If you're right-handed and you throw a little bit of a hyzer putt like Mark does, it can be a problem.
Again, minimal trees.
There's a birdie. Sorry, I thought Andrew thrown earlier. That was a great shot and a great putt, especially with that ripping wind. It was a little protected in those trees, but it was not calm.
And he needed that after that last hole.
There's a little twig in my way there that we decided I couldn't move because it was in front of my lie, which was the right call, so I had to putt over that a little bit and just left it a little low. Tried a little too hard, as they say.
Right.
And here you are for your birdie.
Low. Trying not to get the nose up. After missing that putt in that last hole, the wind kind of got in my head a little bit.
Yeah, and that would have been the same headwind.
Let's tap in par for Mitch.
And Mark and I should do the same here.
And then I'll come up and do so as well. Pretty simple hole. But that OB on the right can be kind of deadly.
Yeah, that OB in the wind makes it definitely a little bit less straightforward than it otherwise might be. Good birdie for Andrew there. He gets one of those 2 back that he lost earlier, and he'll take the box going into hole 6, which, as I said, is pretty similar to the last hole. The trees are less of a danger on this hole, but the creek is much more in the way. And
the trees left. There's a grove of aspens to the left that can be jail if you go a little bit too far over there.
Yeah, if you throw it a little high with something too overstable, or you end up catching the wrong gust, it can be a problem.
Andrew's all right there. He's a little rough, but he should be able to lean that around that.
He did end up staying inbounds on that shot. We were concerned off the tee that it might hit a tree and go out, but it did stay in. So that was a great break for Andrew. This is a Swirl MD3 that I've had in the bag for quite some time, nice and beat up.
And that's dangerously close to the river there.
Yeah, it's a tap in, and I was closer to the river than I was the basket.
Here goes Mitch.
A little bit more overstable. I think that might have been a driver, but that's similarly close.
Conservative drive. That's a good park job. He should have that in 2.
Is that also Color Glow MD3?
Yeah, that's another Crowned Eagle.
Mm-hmm. You were throwing those well a lot this weekend. It was good to see. That was another decent shot. I don't know if the trees helped or hurt too much,
bit, you know, but it's better than going OB. They can be saviors on this hole.
Definitely. Happened a couple different times where they've saved me.
Mark didn't seem happy about that, but he didn't go too deep in those trees.
Yeah, that's that grove that you were talking about out left, and he got under. He let the wind get under the disc, and
Andrew just didn't get around those branches.
Mark's gonna have to throw a forehand out, which is a little dangerous with the creek behind it, but he did that very well.
Goes up there, park it for his par.
Yeah, and you could see left on this hole the whole way. There was a lot of
just low on that one.
Just a little low.
I forgot that one.
You were all over the face mask early on this round. Wanted a few of them to go in. Andrew saved a really good par there. That was
a
28 feet out. So that was. I know he's disappointed.
He doesn't know how to feel about that one.
Yeah, still a good save. Mitch will get an easy birdie, easy enough it seems like. Didn't make too much of a fuss of that putt.
The trees work as a pretty good windbreak for this hole for the most part.
Yeah, with the direction the wind was blowing today, kind of out of the north and northwest, it helped quite a bit on a few of these putts. And
that's a great birdie.
That drive felt great. I was happy to get that. Another tap in par.
Yeah.
And Mark should be tapping in a par as well.
I believe so. No, this hole I'd say probably averages around like a 275. You know, it's really easy to get that birdie.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know the statistics.
Yeah, we need to get all the scorecards rounded up and get that figured out.
Yeah, it's easy enough to get a 4 on that. It plays more interesting.
Encroaching river right there, it can be tough. And this one is kind of a brutal layout.
Yeah, so this is an alternate tee pad for 7. It's a little farther, and you have to throw through this gap, which is kind of a flex gap low.
OB fence and right, OB sidewalk, and beyond left.
So I'm throwing a third run PD. We were kind of throwing into a little bit of a headwind, and I just snuck by the left side of that tree.
That's a great shot.
But that's a fine place. It's 100 feet or so out, and an easy enough spot to throw an upshot from. Most everybody on our card is a right-hand, backhand player, so they're looking to play that line similarly. Mitch got under this one and let it get nose up in that headwind, and he smashed it. He was almost pin high. Ballista Pro is that blue one that he's throwing.
Yeah. He threw that a lot with all this headwind out there. It was really reliable for him.
Mm-hmm. Here's Herrera with probably another outlaw, and he's hit the gap very well as well. That's a perfect spot to be in. This is not a hole you're really attacking for a 2. There's no clean way of doing it without really, really risking out of bounds.
Yeah.
Especially with that sidewalk and tree left there.
And I took the right gap in the trees there.
Yeah, the true local route just to get the extra distance on the Anheuser.
I didn't quite get back over the fence.
What were you throwing here?
Pretty far back. That was a S-line PD2.
Okay. Yeah, that headwind was really turning some stuff.
Yeah, and then Mark just let go a little early. It slipped out on him, and he went OB.
Yeah, and that's the reason you really can't attack this pin into.
But then you had, he risked the OB right there to get through that gap, and he made it up there pretty far.
Yeah, I'm glad he made that shot. That was a really risky shot, and he hit the line well. Maybe a little shorter than he'd like for his 4-putt, but it could have been worse. That looked like it was going to trickle through when I was watching it, and it almost did.
It's just on the bad side of the tree there, but that's not very far away.
Yeah, maybe 15 foot, kind of a straddle out.
This is one of the optimal drives. This is what you are really looking for off the tee pad there.
Yeah, just what should be an easy layup. I didn't make it look like one on this hole. I kind of threw it way nose up and let the wind get under it and split the middle of the tree.
Way through the tree.
That didn't work as planned, but that's all right. There's plenty of golf left. There's Andrew throwing an up shot, more along what I was planning.
Just getting up there to try to get that 3.
Yeah, just get it close. Here's Mitch. He didn't really have a look, unfortunately. Those branches hang really low, so he's just doing the same. And
that's
for what he had, that's a great shot.
Mark has saved his 4 here.
Oh, and just a little low.
low.
This is probably 15 or so feet, maybe a tiny bit more. Just coming right back up the hill for a 3, so should be straightforward enough. And that one kind of snuck in too, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I think I just got it in my head a little bit with that OB still.
Yeah, and you had a straight headwind when that was happening, and so it wasn't the easiest wind to try to put it
in there
uphill
for
on.
a double bogey. We both took doubles on that one.
Yo, you and Mark.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
And a couple pars.
So here are the scores after hole 7. So far,
We're really starting to build a gap there between
Mitch and Herrera slightly.
Yep.
There's still plenty of time. This is an interesting hole, hole 8. It's really just a big hyzer, but with the rains that happened this week, short and right is essentially a big puddle of casual water.
Yeah, it's basically a swamp if you go a little bit far right on this hole.
There's also OB left if you get over those trees and into the road. That ended up way
that's all right.
It's in the casual water. The tree I hit to the right is probably about 65 right of the basket, so you want to be a little more left than that. I was surprised the wind didn't carry it as much as it did.
And that shot from Mitch is just fantastic.
That was great for Mitch.
That was perfect. That was that same Ballista Pro that he had thrown before.
Yeah, and with the right-left wind on this hole, it's really hard to dial how much hyzer you need. So for him to be anywhere inside the circle is pretty great. This is Andrew throwing a similar shot, and that
he's
tree
right on the edge of that water as well.
Probably 35 uphill, I'd say.
Throwing my C-Line PD2. I went a little deep on this one.
Okay, right over that slash pile.
Yeah.
It's still
they had
just inside the
cleaned
circle,
all that
but that's
stuff, and the
rough.
city hadn't gotten to emptying it out yet. So there's a couple piles of branches on the course, and Mark comes in for the same shot, but clips that tree, and it pushes him down on the bad side of all of that.
Yeah, that tree that Mark clipped, you really want to come over the top of it. He's going to try to go over the top of these here, and he
ends
rolled
up
OB.
in the parking lot. That's painful.
Here I'm taking about 6-7 feet of casual relief. My disc is in the middle of that swamp, and there was no way to take a dry lie. So I'm just trying to run 65-footer, and I got close.
That was a good putt.
I wish
Andrew
I
was able to
take it a
get
little
good
closer.
footing where he was.
Yeah, he's still a little bit in the swamp, but he's not as bad as.
And that was a good shot, just a little low on it.
Yeah, the footing really isn't great. It's very squishy in there. There was Mark for, I believe, a 5.
I think that was his 4.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was his 4. He stayed in bounds on the first
Me
one.
for my birdie over there. It's about circle's edge, maybe 35.
Nice putt. That was a
Yeah.
great birdie.
Oh, they got both angles.
They
of
got
this
great. Yeah, that was dead center, man. That was a great putt. Over the slash pile.
One. Really needed that one after the OB on that last hole.
Yeah, you deserved a few of those putts to go in, I thought, so it was great to see you
It was a
get
good
one.
birdie from Mitch.
Great drive. This is Mark for his 5. He'll go ahead and tap that in.
He's not happy about that OB either.
No, and I think he just misread the way the wind was blowing it over the top, because it didn't look bad out of his hand, but it just got taken.
That tree will reach out and grab him.
Yeah, I'm taking a second here to just toss one in, nice and nose down, slide down those chains.
It's a good par. Andrew's going to step up and do the same. It's good pars from you guys.
Yeah, with the OB on that hole and the way the wind was carrying it, I'm not upset with a par, but there's definitely birdies to be had out there. Let's see. This is hole 9 coming up here. It's a really interesting hole. There's a wall of trees that you have to throw over to access the basket.
Yeah, and those trees are growing faster and faster every year. Eventually, that Anheuser line's going to be gone.
Mitch is trying to putter roller here to avoid going over all those trees.
And it looked nice, but that grass is so tall, it just grabbed it and pulled it down, and he didn't get all the way up there.
Yeah, it's still a little swampy on this hole.
45, 50 out. He's looking at it.
And
and the wind's starting to pick up right now.
Yeah,
again.
It's roaring right to left, and so it's really making the Anheuser shot difficult to read.
And I clipped those trees and kicked down. That wall is just, it's near impenetrable.
Yeah, I think the wind might have just pushed that anhyzer down, and I saw that. So with this, I'm throwing an MD4 a little bit higher on the anhyzer and just seeing how much it'll carry to the right. And I ended up getting this one over pretty decently. I was surprised with how well it turned out, because I thought it was going long in the creek, and it ended up hitting those trees and staying safe. And yeah, like you were saying, it was probably 5-6 feet out.
That river is very close to the basket, but there is a lot of trees there to block any throws coming in at it. And Andrew comes up a little short, but looking at it.
And trees did the same thing to Andrew's throw, what it did to mine. That's not an unfortunate bounce, I don't think. This is Mark. I think that's a Sexton Firebird he's throwing on a similar line, and having a pretty similar result.
Just tombstone straight in there.
That was a great throw from Mark, too. Throwing a P1X here just on your upshot?
Yeah, just laying it up there.
Here's Mitch from about 40 out for a birdie. And that's
boom.
A great putt.
I love the angle here on the camera. Right behind it.
And I think Dale was filming right here. He was maybe 5 feet from the creek, so if you don't hit any of those trees behind the basket, it can sneak into the creek really quickly.
Oh yeah, he's on the edge of it, basically.
Here's Herrera for his birdie. And that's a good putt. That was pretty obstructed. It's difficult to access the basket because it's only visible in that one window. The trees are kind of scattered throughout otherwise, and so it's kind of difficult to tell whether or not you're going to get a good look.
Got a couple.
I had to give the tree a little hug there.
Here.
Give the tree a little love back.
You gotta love the trees, and they'll love you.
Yeah, it didn't hurt that throw. I'll take it. Mitch is making a charge. He's made up a few strokes on me on the last few holes with some great drives and some good putting. Now this next hole, I believe, was combined 10 to 11. So 10 is usually a very short hole on the hill. And then 11
is usually pretty short as well, down the hill toward the river.
Yeah, so on this one we're playing out 420 feet, and then the basket is tucked to the right in a small cove of trees right next to the river.
This is Mitch throwing his Ballista Pro.
Yeah, and there was a headwind on this one, and he just got it turned over a little too much and went
over the trees. Taken by that wind.
I'm throwing an EchoStar DD2. After seeing that, I really want to throw this on a hyzer and keep it low to try to keep it out of the wind as much as I can, especially since we're going downhill. And I definitely kept it low and almost threw it OB right, but it managed to stay in bounds.
That's close.
Here's Andrew. I'm not 100% sure what he's throwing on this one, but he's had the distance that he can get to this hole. So he can try to get a look at it too, even though it's going to be a risky putt. But he's got a good crush on this one.
That is just looking beautiful.
And I believe he did stay safe on this one. He wasn't safe by much. Those trees did save him, though. Although I'm not sure, if the trees weren't there, he wouldn't have been parked anyway. But he had a good throw, and it managed to stay safe. So
Mark threw a Star Destroyer there, and just that wind just taking everything. So I disked up to a PD2.
The trees definitely saved Mark there.
And I just didn't get the flip that I thought I was going to get on it, and ended up way left.
Yeah, PD2s do go left.
Oh, yeah.
Not quite the line you were looking for, but you will have an upshot, kind of looking at the basket. I know it's a scary upshot here. What were you throwing to try to get it to settle?
I just threw a harp at it.
Okay.
I wanted it to just kind of fall and die.
Yeah, and you had the left-right wind, too, so that would kind of cut the hyzer down and keep it short.
Mitch pitched out there. He didn't really have anything at all in there.
At all. It was pretty bad. Here's a rare flick from me. Throwing an overstable mid-range. And
that's a good putt.
Turned out quite a bit better than I thought it would. I got a really clean look at it for maybe 10 feet.
Mark somehow got through almost everything all the way there. That was a good shot.
Yeah, he'll have a nice look for his next putt. Here's Mitch just throwing a sidearm up, trying to tap in his next throw, and he puts it a little bit short.
A little short, got some branches to contend with for his next shot.
And those branches are in the way, and they don't give much room to go through low. Here's Andrew. You can see there's not really a lot.
That's for his birdie, and that was a good shot.
Yeah, he gave it a try to run it through those branches, but they're just so thick. Here's Mitch trying the same, and
come on, stop.
It did stay.
It
did stay. That would have been adding insult to injury, and that was a rough putt that he had there.
Again on the faceplate.
That's a scary wind again, and
scary wind, scary water right behind it.
This is as close as the water gets to any basket, I think, on this course. It's maybe 3-4 feet behind it. If you miss your putt and don't at least hit the front of the basket, it's almost definitely going into the water. There's Herrera tapping in a birdie. Or is that a par? Was that a 3?
This was written down as a par 4. So
it was, so he got a good 3 there.
A little bit of an easier 4, but again, that water is scary, kind of.
Yeah, with how close that water is,
there's a lot of
OBs
on this hole. There's a lot of OBs.
Really a par 3.5. It's a bit of a soft 4, but it's all right to have a few of those in there, especially in this typical Wyoming wind. It's difficult.
Oh yeah.
Unfortunately, Mitch found out how difficult this hole is. That's a 6 for Mitch.
I think.
So here are the scores after 9 holes. I am sitting at 4 down. Andrew and Mitch have gotten themselves to even. Mark is 4 up, and Coda sitting at 3 up, with some of the more birdieable holes still left to play in the second half.
Oh yeah, but some of the harder ones as well. There's still a couple combined holes out there that can be pretty deadly.
Yeah. Dry Creek is typically 21 holes, but for this tournament, they've combined a few holes to make it 18, and so for this round and the next round, we'll get some surprises and have some holes that add different challenges that you don't always see when you play this course day in and day out.
Oh yeah, so come on back with us in the next second half of the first round of the 2018 WyOpen. We'll see you there.